assignment in computer art, and that is to create a city ruined landscape. And so to begin, we can check out the example I've completed below, and this is a picture of the Boston Commons, and I've taken it and made some manipulations and turned it into a devastated landscape, and that's what we're going to work on for the next lesson. So just want to start by doing a search for a cityscape image. And you don't want to choose one that has too many buildings. I'd say anywhere from 6 to 10 buildings, no more than 10. 10 is probably going to make it a much more complicated project. So choose one that has just 6 to 10 buildings. So I see a few here that I might look at, and having more of a simple sky too is a good way to look at them. So if they don't have a lot of clouds, that will make things a little bit easier for you as well. So I think I'm going to go with this first image I see here, which is Seattle, and I'm going to use this one, but first I'm going to set up a new document. So I'll go over to Photoshop here, new document, the usual dimensions. So for this image, mine is going horizontally larger than it is vertically, so I'm going to put 10 as my width and 8 as the height, and set resolution at 150, and we'll call this City Ruin. Alright, then I'll go back to my image, copy my image and paste it in. Now it's a little bit bigger than the space that I have, so I'm going to zoom out, maybe see if I can't get a different view here. I think I'd rather take this section of buildings. I like that I have a boat here, and then the American flag is still in the picture there, so I like this angle. It's okay. And I'll say OK. And the first step really is to take out the sky of your background. So I'm going to go ahead and take the magic wand, or quick selection. Take the magic wand, and like I was saying, having the sky be a flatter area is going to make things easier. Make sure you have the add to selection option selected, a tolerance of maybe 20. And let's see if we can take out the sky. So that's pretty good. We got some selection in here, so I'm going to undo and lower that and try it one more time. And that time I got a little bit better, and I'll just keep clicking down here to try and get into the gaps. Try and select all between these buildings. Gonna zoom in. Make sure you get all these spots. Trying to click around and get all these spots still. It is there's a lot of little ones kind of hanging around, so I'm going to try and click on these. Getting some very slow time speeds on my mouse movement right now though, so there we go. Alright, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and delete those clouds, and then go ahead, deselect. I'm going to go ahead and create a new layer now, and on this new layer I'm going to add an image of storm clouds. And so let's go ahead and do another Google search really quick of storm clouds. And let's find some nice scary looking clouds that we can add to this scene. I really like the look of kind of this cloud kind of right here. Very simple kind of cloud. A hail-producing storm cloud. Sounds about right. And I'm going to go ahead and paste this in. It's a little smaller than I'd like it to be, so I might look at a different image, actually. And let's say maybe this one. So let's try and copy. Again, we'll paste. And again, a little bit small, but I think it'll work, but I just don't like how it has these trees in it. So I'm going to back up again. And actually this one is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and take this image. I think third try is a good luck charm. Paste it in. You actually want this layer down behind your cityscape layer, obviously. And then I'm going to stretch to fill. So that should do that. Set that in place. And maybe move it a little bit down or up. And that's pretty good. Nice. And now I will go ahead and start to make my my destruction. So the storm is here. I'll turn that off so I can really see what I'm doing back here. And I'm going to go into these buildings and start to take away a little bit of their structure. So zooming in, I'm going to take my lasso tool, just the round lasso tool, not the poly lasso that we use very frequently, but I'm going to take this one because it will let me draw these shapes and make them a little more organic and kind of random. So I'm going to make kind of like a little lop out of this building, a little bite out of it, just by selecting an area, making sure I'm on this layer, and deleting. And I'm going to do that at a bunch of buildings. Say make at least 6, if not more, subtractions from buildings. Make a few in the center of buildings and a few out of the sides. I think I'm actually going to take some of kind of this top corner of this building off. And I'm going to delete that. And then I think some out of kind of the center of this one, and maybe even the side up here. Okay. And maybe just 1 or 2 more. Maybe this one. Take this corner off. And one last one. And get kind of like this section from this building. Okay, so deselect, and I'll zoom back out to kind of see the start of the destruction. So you can see I've taken some good chunks out of these buildings. Pretty much all of them, at least the ones in the foreground. I left most of the ones down here alone, but maybe I will do just a couple. And maybe one last one with this building. Okay, so I did a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I did 9 subtractions. So that's, I'd say that more at the high side, do at least 6. But I chose 9, so I'll have a lot going on in this one. But that's okay. So once you get those selections, you want to go back in and start to erase a little more of the actual image and make it a little more jagged. So I'm kind of taking a brush that has a good edge, maybe a little bit smaller, and trying to make this a little more kind of jagged and rough, because it's a little bit smooth of a destruction right now. Kind of make some peaks and make this kind of a little more random. of a kind of explosion spot. If we're trying to simulate some kind of explosion, it would be a little more jagged and random and not so nice. So again, this shape that I had taken out is a little smooth, so I'll go ahead and kind of erase little jagged marks out of this one. A little more like a bite, or that it's fallen apart. And go ahead and do that to all your selections, and then you will be ready to watch part 2 of this video. As I have said, I am working on shortening the length of the videos, and next we'll get into showing more of the stress on the buildings and adding in some structure images.